Hello everyone, it's been a while. So if you still doing anything, hello people, it's been a while. If you are still doing anything with FTP, please don't. Because you have a better alternative, which is SSH or SFTP, which is a secure version of FTP. A tool like rsync, which I use a lot in production, it's very powerful, also way more secure than FTP. But for this program, what I'm about to show you is to show some capabilities with Go that we can do almost anything within the program that we want to do. So I'm going to show you how to copy files from your system into an FTP server from your Go program. So let's do it. I'm showing this in case, you know, really in production, this is what you should use, or any other tool out there that supports TLS or provides a more secure approach than FTP. Please, this is important. But now let's go into the tutorial. The first thing I want to do is to create a folder. I'm going to create a folder called make.dar. Let's say resync it. Let's call it like this. I'll create a folder and then change into it immediately. Go mod init. Let me put my GitHub with this same name, and then I can touch a go.main and open it in Visual Studio Code. We can close this one now. All right. So let's do the func main quickly. Each time I do something like this, I always want to test it. Bash. All right. I switched to bash because I have autocomplete in the other one, and I don't want to expose some of the things that I have on the system previously. I'm just going to print something quickly. Hello. And then go run. Great, everything works there. The first thing I want to do is to start by bringing the library that we are going to use. So let me open it. Right. This is what we are going to use. With that, I can go get this like this. Now that we have it installed, I like to bring it in here. We can just import it here. And make sure I don't save it so that Visual Studio Code doesn't wipe it. Let's declare some constants here. The FTP server itself. And we're going to need the FTP username or user FTP pass, and the directory and the remote system that we want to work with, and the local directory that we want to copy. All right, we're going to fill this one out shortly. Let's create a connection. FTP.dial. It has a lot of options. You can dial with timeout and all that. So let's try to connect with the FTP server. I'm going to dial with connection here. Sorry, dial with timeout. It has a dial with timeout. Let's put 5 seconds. All right. Let's check for error. If you notice, I'm using theta here because I'm in main. If anything fails here, honestly, there is nothing else you can do. So this is the right place to use something like theta. But if you are writing this code in a different function that is going to be called from another part of your code, then you want to return the error instead. At this point, we should have the connection. Next thing, and when you are doing network programming, the first thing you do is to establish a connection. So this basically dial a TCP connection. The next thing, you start sending in payload. So imagine like a pipe, right? You're able to see the other side of the pipe now. Then the next thing is you can pour something into the pipe, and then the other side analyze that in, and if it is fine or not. So this is now when you start using the protocol, which is the message format that you send. So the first thing we want to do here is to log in. With our connection, we can log in FTP user. Of course, we want to check for error as well. At this point, we should be logged in. Next thing we want to do is to work on the files. So let's look inside the directories, files, os.read. It's read there. This used to be in IOUT, so local directories where I'm looking at. This used to be IOUT.read. Read there. You look at it's been deprecated. We check for error again. At this point, we should have a list of all the files in this directory. So we loop. Now that we're in the loop, what next? We need to read the content of the file. So let's say local file and error. Call os.open. We need to join the file path. Use the file path .join. We join the local directory and the name of the file, which is file.name. This gives us the full path. Of course, we need to check for error. Because we're in a loop, if something happened here, I don't want to exit the loop because I probably can process other files. So I'm going to continue, but I want to log some error here. Log.print ln error. Something like this. And I'm going to use printf. Now we have the file here. We can read the content now. So time to send the file to the server. You have the store. I don't know why it is named like this. Now, where do we want to put it in the remote server? So let's join the path as well in the remote server. Remember, we have the directory here. We want to join it with a new name. So remote there. And the file that we are going to send, and the content of the file that we are going to put inside this one in the remote server. Really straightforward. If anything happens within this, because this is a network operation, if anything goes wrong, I really want to exit the code at this point. This one is not a network operation. This is me reading from the file system. But if I have an issue doing any network operation, I want to exit. You can decide anything you want, but for me, this is how I want to approach it. After that, I want to close the file. All right, and that's it. Now, outside the loop, when we are done, we need to close the network connection as well here. So we can say if error, they have a quit. If we are unable to close it, we can fatal as well. If everything goes well, right, so this is our code, right? Doesn't look that bad, very straightforward. We established a TCP connection to the FTP server. We log in, read the files from our local system, the list of all the files in this directory. We loop through each of the files. We read the content of each of the files, send it to the server and close the file. And lastly, we close the network connection and then we print out this message. Very straightforward. Now, how do we get an FTP server? One way is to go to a cheap hosting provider like DigitalOcean, or if you have an existing one, you can use it. But this is why we have Docker. So I already went ahead to use this package. I'm going to link to it in the video, and then I executed this command. So I have the FTP server running on port 21, right? So how do we know? I'm going to open my FileZilla, which this is FileZilla, right? So I'm going to, this is the host. The user is 1 and the password from the Docker is 1234 port 21. So just run it and you can see I have the connection. So this is the, let me copy this one here. This is the remote path. I will name it 1/tutorial. The server is localhost user 11234, and the local system, I'm going to use this directory that I have here where we are writing code, so it can copy my code. I think this is it. Time to run it. Go run. All right. Address missing port. Okay. We're missing the port. Run it one more time. Could not create file. So could not create file means connection was successful. So let's make sure this folder exists before. Right, now that the folder exists, let's run it one more time. Great, send all files to the server. So let's open it and all the files are here. This is beautiful. But if you notice, when we try to, let's go back here. When we try to run the code with this path, because this path does not exist in the server, we got that error. So the next step is, let me show you something else. So let's say I create a folder here called examples, and I'm going to have notes.txt in there, tests, right? And instead of this path, let's say we want to send, we are going to keep it like this, but now we have a folder inside here. There's a folder inside of this place, and then let's run it. Let's see what happens. You see an error occur, read examples is a directory, right? So this is not going to work. That is the next thing we are going to do, how to send the subdirectory. We need to refactor the code a little bit because the ability to send the subdirectory means we need to read recursively. If you don't do a recursion here, there is no way for us to achieve that result. So what I'm going to do is to come here and write a new function called synchronize or something like that, and then I'm going to accept the connection ftp.com server.com, and then local path. We need the local path, remote path. Both of them are going to be string, and I won't return any error. I'm going to bail out of the code, like just exiting if anything goes wrong, right? All right, so what do we do? Let's start with what we have done here. I'm going to bring this code here. Let's loop again. Right, now we're in the loop. The first thing I want to prevent is I don't want to send any file, any directory that starts with dot something. So I don't send like git folders and all that. So if a string has prefix, So the string we want to check is file.name. The prefix is dot. This point we want to skip it. I wish this thing is skip. Alright. What is this? As prefix doesn't have side effect and its return value signal. I don't know what it's saying. It's a Boolean, so it's fine. If string has prefix, everything is fine. All right, local file path. Let's construct the file path. Local file path. File path.join. Local path, this one, and then file name, file.name, right? We need to do something very similar, so I just change this to remote, and then bring this one here. All right. If, and this is where it is, if our file, what we read from here, if it's a directory, I'm going to put a log here, sending it. What do we want to do? We're going to try to create a directory first. So I'm going to do this. There is a make there, the connection, remote file path. We try to make it. If error is not new, I'm going to log fatal straight out. All right. If not, we do another one. Now this is the time for us to recall this one recursively. Now we pass it the connection. This is a recursion now, and then local file path and the remote file path. Now checking for this error is very important. Don't ignore it. Saying something is wrong. I think is it the error? It can't be the error because it's been declared here. Let's see. No value used as values. Oh, because we are not returning anything else. Okay, that's good. All right, so we call it again, and that's it. But if it is not a directory, basically we are going to do what we did up there, where we did the reading and also the writing. So I'm going to copy everything like this, bring it here. It doesn't get formatted, so local file, we get the path, but this time around we can just replace this one here. We check for error. I'm going to just kill the program. After that, we try to store this, and we close the local file. Right, this close also return an error, so if you want you can check for it, but I won't do that. Everything, this is all the code, I think, so time to test it. What I'm going to do is to delete everything here. Here, yes, bring this one, pass the connection, and this is the local, and this is the remote. Okay, this is a pointer, so that address was not required. Let's run it. Let's see what happens. creating directory operation failed. Yes, because the example is already there. So let's do something. Example 2. Sending directory, file for directory operation failed. Let's see what happened. Right, the directory is not here. Let's check why did it fail. Let's see, where is the call to make dir? Let's call it fail to create dir. I'm going to use do we have theta f? Sure we do. That means I can bring this here because I want to see what the directory look like now. The good thing is you are seeing the errors that I'm saying. So it's looking for tutorial and example. Yeah, so this is not going to work. But if we change it like this, it should now work. But then we have some sort of infinite loop. And I think that's as a result of let's say this remote, let me see what we are missing, right? Local dir. Look at what we are doing. Local dir is supposed to be this path, right? So I just knew that we misuse one of the variable. Holy cow. I mistakenly closed the project. I don't know how that happens. All right, but we've made a mess with the FTP server now because we probably have sent in a lot of data. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to put another directory and let's put a different directory here now called test. All right, and note.txt. So go run this. All right, sending the all files sent. So it works. Refresh. This is the test and this is our note. Let me open the note if I can. It's downloading. I don't want to download anything from it, but yeah, it's there. It's 2 bytes, of course, because it's just 2 bytes. How many bytes? 5 bytes. I just increased the bytes. And now it failed because the file already exists on the server, right? So we've done the tutorial, but I want to do something else to show you like a workaround for this problem. So I'm going to refresh here again. And then we have the 5 bytes. How do we solve this problem of the directory already exists and you still want to use it, right? You want to add, like create it. I don't want to delete it, but I just want to show you guys a workaround. Now, this library does not have a way to say if directory exists, right? So that means we need a way to help ourselves. So I will do something. I'm going to use the change dir to do it. So if I'm going to attempt to change to the directory, if it's successful, I know it's there. If not, I know it's not there, right? So let me say dir not in remote or something like that. Don't know if it's the best name, but FTP server con, right? And then remote path, something like this. And this can teach you a little of just how to find your way around, like when you don't have all the tools you need. If error, I'm going to add, this is what I will do now. Change to the remote path. If if error is not me, I'm going to return false. And everything we have here technically is not an error, but because we are now, if we like that, we want to change back. We want to change back to the parent directory where we were, right? And then return true, something like that, right? Yeah, let's go and give it a shot. Hope I don't have any logical issues here. So directory not exist. Directory, do you know what? Let me change it. Directory that exists in remote. Yeah, so we try to change. If the directory exists, this would be nil. If not, if it doesn't exist, we return false. Okay, let's go and try it. Where are we making the directory here? So we are going to now do if, what is it? All right, so if this con remote file path, so if it is false, only that time we want to create this, else we are going to change. We are going to change to the directory. And when we change to the directory, we should return true, but we're also checking for the error here, so it's okay. Now time to run it. We had this error, right? So you see it continues to work even though the directory is there, right? Continues to work, and let's put something else there. Yes, let's refresh. 19 bytes. So this is it, guys. Well done. If you like the tutorial, please don't forget to subscribe, support the channel. You can suggest some more tutorials in the comment, and I'll be glad to record them if I have the time. Like I said, this is really a way to show some Go capability. There's nothing special about this. Most people are no longer using a FTP, including myself. I use the resync, and it works very well. And then if you want a local FTP server to test your code, please use the Docker, or you can go spin up an instance on DigitalOcean or any of the cloud service providers, and you can test your code. I think things are quite easy with Docker, so most times I like to use Docker. My next tutorial is how to deploy your Go program from your system to production server using GitHub Action, everything automated. So if you like things like that, please subscribe. Thank you, and do have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.